So just a quick note before this video actually begins, I was going to end up taking a lot of background footage to match what I was doing, such as showing you the med kits and all. Hunt servers kind of went down in the middle of filming that, so I do have background footage which shows a lot of the reasons why I believe the equipment is essential, such as med kits, choke bombs, other things like dynamite, which I use at the very end. I just want to make a quick note of that because it's just going to be background footage of me talking again, which I actually did plan on putting a little more effort in it, and I do apologize, it's going to be a little sloppy. But hey, I want to put out another video before the big update takes over, so sorry. Hello and welcome to a series I'm making about helpful tips for new players for Hunt Showdown. With a new update looming and new birth of players are bound to arrive, and Hunt can be quite unforgiving compared to other shooters. I'm making a small series of things that I believe to be useful for new players who are just starting out, ranging from loadout tips to weapon recommendations to tips of dealing with the bosses, and perks that are generally useful versus the more specialized perks that may cater to a certain playstyle. So to start this new series, I want to go over a nice loadout that's simple and available from the start, that kind of focuses more on the equipment rather than the weapons. Now this is because when you're designing a hunter, you can have presets that let you just bring your favorite gear at the touch of a button, making it getting in and out of games a lot faster, while also being able to restock a hunter that's actually survived with the consumables you used previously in the game. I think this is very important because a lot of players tend to ignore this part and they just always bring random equipment in, and it feels a little disjointed and can lead to pretty bad experiences. Now my first piece of actual advice is to get a legendary hunter, whether it's through an event or a hunter is on sale and you can buy them with the beginner currency, which is 300 blood bonds. I suggest getting one. There are actually two that are available from the start, but if they don't appeal to you, save up the currency you earn from match to match, and you will eventually find one that does. A lot also do go on sale for very cheap. I suggest checking every week. Now, legendary hunters always cost 100 hunt dollars. They have 3 perks, and 2 of them will actually have perks that relate to each other, such as Scope Smith and Steady Aim being on the same person, and both are sniper perks. And they come on a blank slate for equipment. Now, this makes them easy to buy, slap on a loadout of your equipment and consumables, and then choose your primary and secondary based on how you're feeling currently, or to match the perks that were given to this hunter in particular. And now that we have a hunter, whether you're using legendaries or not, we can look at a build. So let's talk tools first, starting with the medkit. It's simple, restores 50 HP, 100 if you have doctor, and holds and cures any bleeding upon bandaging. It's the only item that I say is 100% necessary in every build, because it's your main source of healing, both in a fight or after a bad altercation with zombies, such as the Concertina zombie. Next is your melee choice, and this one kind of varies person to person. Knives are light and make quick work of most enemies. Dusters do the same at a slower pace, but don't have to be swapped out nearly as often, especially when Immolator shows his face. Or the new Spear, which is slightly more expensive and stamina taxing, but is by far the strongest. Now, I use the Dusters or the Spears myself, but any of the three are useful for eliminating mobs silently, which is very key to new players because anytime you shoot a gun, trust me when I say, more experienced players are going to hear it, and you're probably going to get tracked down pretty fast. Now we get to the third slot, which I personally recommend your choke bombs. Now, they provide a way not only to extinguish your burning down allies, which will preserve their HP bars, but they also offer a way to ensure an exit or entrance is blocked off in a way that you'll be alerted to if anyone steps into it, because it'll cause them to choke violently. Now, this is key on a lot of places, such as a defense where there's a sneaky little entrance that you really want to make sure you don't get caught with. This is why I really recommend them. Now, the final tool is probably the most flexible slot. I will recommend fuses or a flare gun. This option allows you to send an enemy hunter who's been down on fire, forcing their team to reveal themselves to choke bomb them, or they risk losing their teammate permanently. The fourth slot, traps are also a fine replacement, such as concertina or poison, because they offer a better defense for banishing, and it's able to cut down the number of entrances that can be crept through without noticing by forcing them to disarm it, which will make it a loud, audible pop. Or even better, they'll trigger it, inflicting damage, and could get them killed if you respond fast enough. So now that tools are done with, we can actually talk about consumables. These offer a lot of options from buffs to explosives and even beetles that you could use for scouting. Now, when you first start out, not everything will be unlocked in this category, but the items I'm recommending will be. I always suggest bringing a stamina shot and regen. Now, in the beginning, you can only use weak until you use enough of them, or when you're low on hunt dollars, but I do recommend the regular versions when you finally unlock them and can comfortably afford them. These buffs are invaluable to new players as stamina allows you to keep sprinting at max speed without worrying, as well as being able to melee infinite without, any issues. To explain that, Hunt has two staminas, sprinting and everything else, such as vaulting or meleeing. And the sprinting depletes over time, which only shows up as a lung icon and indicating that you are no longer sprinting at max speed. And when you're using stamina shots, neither of your staminas deplete. And in Hunt, you also have segmented bars. And once a bar is lowered to the next bar, it can't be regenerated. It can only be given to the current bar. Regen shots actually allow you to continuously regenerate past the bars that have already been depleted back to full health eventually. This does not include burned off bars though, which can come from either being downed or set ablaze, which must be restored in other ways such as banishing a boss or having one of the specific perks. Sometimes during events there will be other options, but they have removed them for now. With your last two slots, I recommend bringing at least one vitality shot. Weak or strong doesn't really matter. They give you a nice burst healing in a firefight. The weak ones restore 75, the full ones just restore your entire HP bar. And I say these things are really good because a sudden heal like that can turn the tide of a fight, especially when your teammate needs backup. Dynamite sticks are a solid choice as well, being cheap and effective at multiple roles such as flushing an enemy, dealing with a pesky meathead blocking a path, or just damaging the bosses like Scrap Beak to jumpstart the kill on them. Choke beetles, or any variant of the beetle for that matter, are a nice and easy way to provide intel for teammates to scout ahead of compounds, or just to be used to patrol the perimeter while defending a bounty. My last recommendation is an antidote shot, as the poison mechanic can be quite frustrating for newer players as they deal with hives, leeches, and even other hunters' poison ammo. Any combination of the three above can fill out your last slots, and you will now be able to finalize your beginner loadout. So now that you've finished customizing your desired loadout, simply go to loadouts. Currently it's above your primary. In the upcoming update, I believe it'll be a drop down menu, and choose one slot, hit save, and congratulations. Anytime you recruit a new hunter, whether they are legendary or basics, you can simply slap your preferred items right over them just by going to the roster and then hitting loadout, and then you just choose the loadout you've saved it as, and boom, you buy and equip. Now with legends, again, this is much easier because they are a blank slate completely, whereas the free recruits will ask you to discard pieces of equipment or guns when removing them, which is always just clicking the yes. A nice tip to remember is actually to always recruit your free hunter no matter what, even if you don't want them, and just dismiss them, as much of his gear will actually go back into your reserves, such as guns and consumables, to a certain stock. It is free gear, and it becomes very nice if you ever run low on hunt dollars and gotta start doing your budget builds. As for primaries and secondaries, I will be going more in depth in the next video about what I think are the actual best weapons for beginners or just veterans alike. And I'm going to explain the three types right now so you have a general idea, but I will be doing a much more in-depth video later. So to start off, we have compact, which is the light caliber, such as the Winfield and Marathon. These weapons are rapid fire, comparatively of course, excel at close range and mid range to a certain degree, and lose steam. These are good for anyone who enjoys blitzing the enemy. Then you have the medium, which is a much bigger and packs a lot more punch at the cost of RPMs, such as the Centennial and Drilling. They're a bit more geared towards mid-range, but aren't a slacker when it comes to closer long. They don't feel as specialized in closer long range, making them awkward at times. Then you have the large calibers, such as the Mosin and Lobel. These weapons have quite the hefty bolt cycle timer, but they hit extremely hard, often 2 taps to the body, even at long distances. They are favored in a mid to long range fight as their bolt cycling can feel like an eternity when fighting the lighter calibers in close combat. Each caliber has pros and cons, and I believe that it requires a little more in depth, which is why I'm not going to just start listing off recommendations right now. The most important thing is to find a gun that you find consistent, such as learning to hit body shots will result in a much more streamlined game experience as you find out that consistent body shots result in kills far more than actually just always trying to aim for the head and getting the one hit kill. So that covers the basis for the beginner loadout, and next video I will be covering the best weapons for beginners in each tier, such as light, medium, and long, and some picks overall for secondaries that I believe are amazing choices when you're learning hunt, such as the katana, which can make quick work of bosses, mobs, and even hunters alike. Now, with the upcoming update, I won't be able to post videos for about 5 days, because 2 days for the downtime, 3 days to enjoy the event, and then, probably get back to it, maybe do another lore video once I unlock enough of the lore. I want to try to finish that out completely before doing that, so that's on pause completely. I will also be covering some other things, such as just general advice, but until then, bye-bye. For the next minute or so, you can just enjoy this nice audio-less clip of me finishing off a hunt where I was 1-3ing. I figured might want to let people just watch the conclusion of the fight. It's in the background, I know, but I thought it'd just be fun to let it finish out. So you don't have to watch, but I do win, so yay!